welcome to Our Quincy High, a show that's mission is to highlight many of the great things that are going on at our very own Quincy High School. I'm your host, Principal Larry Taglieri, and it is my pleasure to work with the junior film and television students and who put this show together for the school and the community. Today we have an exciting day with special guests from our staff and student body. First, a terrific new addition to QHS has been the addition of the new computer lab in the D Wing. It's so important to know that this entire project came together through the generosity of a local company called Granite Telecommunications. Granite, as they are often known, is located on Newport Avenue in Quincy and owned by Mr. Rob Hale. Mr. Hale has been a tremendous supporter of all the schools in Quincy over the years. As you'll see, this initiative takes the cake. For a perspective from our staff, I send you to reporter Junior Amber Norton.
Hi, Amanda, and I'm here at Quincy High School to go take a look at the new D3 computer lab. I've seen it from the outside, but I want to go take a closer look. It seems pretty cool. Come with me. Okay, looks like we're on the third floor. Is this your first time in the computer lab?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Zach Hughes.
Zach, what do you think of the new computer lab so far?
I think it's really great. There's a lot of new computers. I think it was a very solid investment by the school.
Hi, I'm here with Emma.
Jola.
Have you been to the new computer lab?
Sure have.
Yeah, I actually really like it.
It's very snazzy. It's mad bougie. I'd recommend it. It's very cozy and cool.
What do you like about it? Everything. The chairs.
The new chairs adjust for maximum comfort. The computers turn left, right, up, and down.
We're going to interview a teacher who is a frequent user of the D3 computer lab. I'm here with.
I'm Mr. Ikeda, QHS History Department.
Have you been to the new computer lab up in D3?
I have. We used it for an essay assignment in October, so I was there for about 3.5 weeks, October and November. I think it's absolutely better than the other ones. Part of it is the location. I like looking out the window and all that, but also just the computers are newer and the chairs are nice and adjustable, and I think the setup is better than the other ones. It is a welcome addition to Quincy High School, and a much needed one. And I think that while there'll be an ongoing project of updating computers and facilities in the other labs, I think in the meantime this is a real blessing for us to have here at the school. So I'm very thankful for it.
Thanks again to Granite Telecommunications. Next, I welcome to the set seniors Paul Donahue and Rachel Shen. The reason Rachel and Paul are joining us today is because they were recognized this year for their performance of the PSATs, and they have been recognized as Commended National Merit Scholars. Thank you for joining us today. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah?
Doing well.
Paul, you like being on TV?
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to feel my way around with it too. But there's a great group of people to work with here, so I'm very excited to share you and your accomplishments with the community. This is such an amazing accomplishment, and it's not really to the surprise of any of the teachers or the staff that work here at Quincy High School, for sure. But you have been part of Quincy Public Schools since kindergarten. Could you share what's your path, Paul? Elementary, middle?
Yeah, so 2005 feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
I started at Barnazzani
Yeah.
on Furnace Brook Parkway. A lot of good memories there. Then I went up to Central Middle School, 3 years there. Then I came here
Well, great, and we're glad you did come here, that's for sure. Rachel?
I started at Snug Harbor Elementary School. It's right down the street.
Sure.
Then after that, I went to Broad Meadows. Mr. Tag was working there, actually.
That's right, I was your principal there for 2 years.
Yep, and now I'm at Quincy High, finishing up my 4th year.
Well, very impressive, and I'm sure all the teachers in Quincy Public Schools and staff at Quincy Public Schools takes great pride in your accomplishments. So, great job. You know, when we sit around, we're always talking with the kids here, and especially when you came in as freshmen, I think one thing that you always heard was you need to get involved in the school. You know, not only to take your academics very seriously and to do your very best, but to get the full high school experience was to get involved in other clubs and groups. Could you share some clubs and activities that you've been involved with during your time here? We'll start with Rachel.
Currently, I'm the president of SNHS, which is the Science National Honor Society. I've always been pretty interested in science. Additionally, I do crew rowing. This is my 3rd year, actually. I've been on the team since I was a freshman, with a break for sophomore year. And one of the things I'm really involved in is robotics. We actually just had a competition last week, and we did pretty well.
Absolutely. Terrific. Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, I've been involved with the band for 4 years, and that's always really fun. Actually, last night, just had my last spring concert, and it went well. It's always been a blast for me, even if it can be demanding at times. Also, I'm involved with a History Bowl team. We go to competitions and stuff, and it's always really fun. It's a great group of people there. What else? I was also involved with robotics for 3 years, but I wasn't able to do it this year for various reasons, but it was always fun.
That's great. And boy, Paul, that band has just grown by leaps and bounds over your 4 years here at the school, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot has been put into it. You have great support of the parents. The parents, great support there. I know Mayor Koch was a big supporter as well, because now we have the real band official uniforms and stuff.
Yeah.
And you've been competing in the parades, the local parade here, the Christmas parade, but other parades in other cities and towns as well, haven't you?
Yeah. This fall, the band actually got the first place prize for a marching band in the Roslindale parade.
Yeah, very impressive, and you've been part of that whole growth, so good to you, good to both of you. I'm glad you've taken advantage of opportunities. So you have done that, and I do know, I am aware that you're going to continue with education. Maybe you could share your plans going on. I know we're coming up to the big run of events as being a senior. Sometimes can be anxious moments for many, but I know you both have a bunch of options and stuff, and whether you just know what you're going to study, or maybe you do know exactly where you're going, maybe you could share that with our audience. So Paul, why don't you start?
All right, so these last couple of years I've been really interested in physics. However, I'm not sure if that's what I want to go into yet. I'm also really interested in computer science and programming.
Yeah, interesting.
Right now, I've currently limited down my options. I'm not sure if I want to choose between either UMass Lowell or Clark University. I'm visiting Clark this weekend, so
Terrific.
And I visited Lowell last weekend, so I'm hoping I can make a decision by the end of next week.
Oh, great. I'm glad you have options coming from Quincy High School. Great job, you've worked very hard. Rachel, what are your plans? I kind of know the answer a little bit here, so I know you've kind of locked down already what you're going to be doing in the fall.
Yep. Well, I've always been interested in science, particularly environmental science and biotechnology. I've participated in many of the science fairs, so I know that's something I want to go into. I'll be going to MIT to study biotechnology and environmental engineering there as well, and I hope to make interdisciplinary tools to solve environmental problems.
Very impressive. Both of you, very impressive. I want to thank you for being the first guest ever on our Quincy High School. We're very proud of you. Okay, so going on now next, we did just mention some of the extracurricular activities, and right now we would like to highlight our academic decathlon team. So I send you to Miss Lundquist, our advisor.
The Academic Decathlon is the premier competition that is run by the U.S. government to challenge high school students to perform at a college level in 10 events. The academic decathlon means 10 events. Each year, the curriculum focuses on a different theme. This year's theme, for example, was all about Africa. So students learned about African geography, African culture, African philosophies, African music and art, and everyone who participates in academic decathlon all over the country learns the same material, and then there are competitions based on that. The year coming up, the next one will be focused on the 60s, the 1960s, so that should be a lot of fun. There are typically 9 people who are called players on the team, and there are 3 A players, 3 B players, and 3 C players. Those designations are based on student GPAs from the previous 2 years. So for a 10th grader, I would be looking at their 8th grade and 9th grade GPAs to determine what level they would play on. There are also alternates who compete as well. The students prepare by reading all the material, and the material usually comes out in May, so the academic year starts in May when the students are provided with the materials which they should read over the summer and get familiar with, and then the first competition is in November.
Great.
An academic decathlon certainly is an impressive group of students. I'm very thankful for the work that Ms. Lundquist does with that group. Next, I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Bailey. Hi, Ms. Bailey. She runs our Connecting Activities program. So I'd like to kind of go over some of the pieces that provide opportunities for our students. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Oh, terrific, terrific. Many people may not know, I said back to Quincy High School, I welcome Ms. Bailey. Well, it's back because Ms. Bailey is an alumni of Quincy High School, so it's always great when people come back into the community and to give back to our students. So can you just tell me about what is now one of your roles in the school as a Connecting Activities, with the Connecting Activities program?
Sure. Connect Activities is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education initiative that leverages a statewide infrastructure to support college and career readiness for all Quincy High students. Connecting Activities links the students with the workforce opportunities. It's funded through the South Shore Workforce Development Board in the state of Massachusetts, along with the Quincy Public Schools Administration appointed me as a Connect Activities coordinator, facilitator here in Quincy High to promote career awareness and job readiness. We want our students to be their best, make them aware of their employability expectations. We want to prepare our students today to be the future workforce and therefore have the employers gain something as well.
Terrific. So, right, all those skills of resume building, and I mean, probably tell me more about that. So, really broken down, though, you can help our students who are looking, who can balance the education first, you know, because that can always be that's something that we're always leery of with kids who want to earn money. We always say first job, your high school, but kids that can handle both and handle a part-time job, you actually have those kind of contacts to get kids out in there, not only prepare for interviews, but to connect them with people.
Right, and make them ready for these employment opportunities. So some of the things we do, we help them learn how to write a resume, even for colleges or clubs or teams. So resumes can be not just for jobs, but we can help them with that. Interviewing tips. We can sit there and have mock interviews with them, show them what people are looking for, you know, have them practice with me. Tell them about the employability skills, the accountability, their you know, the communication skills, both in verbal and nonverbal. We want to help them create, get their experiences so that they can create the best them for these employability skills.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience, I think, when you're 16, 17, 18
Right.
years old, going in that first time, and to know what people are really looking for as employers, and you giving them those background pieces.
I just had a student come up to me today, right
Yeah.
now, and he just had the experience yesterday, and he gave me a fist pump and said, "Thank you so much." That was really so helpful with what the experience he had yesterday.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that really made me feel that this is important.
It certainly is. It certainly is. How does Quincy High School, the South Shore Workforce Development Board that you mentioned earlier, and local employees make it all work?
So the Connecting Activities line item in the state budget establishes a public and private partnership through 16 local workforce investment boards to connect schools and businesses. These partners provide structured work-based learning and career development experiences for students that support academic, like you said, and employability skill attainment.
That's great. We're all about opportunities at Quincy High School. We're very glad to have an opportunity like this for our students, for our families. How does someone sign up for the program? You're at Quincy High School.
It's really simple. Email me, and my flyers are all over the school. LynnBaileyQHS@gmail.com, or simply stop me in the halls. And, we can make it's just as easy as that, and we'll figure out what's the best time for everybody to meet.
Oh, well, that's terrific. So nothing more appropriate than you running Connections, because you are making connections with our kids every single day, not just through this program. So I really appreciate all you do with the
It's really
staff.
fun. It's something I really enjoy doing.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for being a guest on our show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Well, we are, just to wrap up our show now, not to wrap it up, but really to highlight just one more group. We recently had some outstanding students participate in our STEM fair. So that was covered by our film and television team. So I take you to a video right now with some of our students and their projects.
So my project is, as the title would say, how domestication affects an animal's instincts. So in this project, I kind of wanted to see if whether an animal is domesticated or whether it's wild, if that has any impact on how it could survive in the wild. To do this, I took a mouse from Petco, obviously domesticated, and I caught a wild mouse. I did that with live catch traps, and I put them in this maze. I did several trials. The way it works is basically you get the mouse into this tube, you put it at this end, and then once it's in the maze, you close it off. And then this tube is at the end, and this is what holds the food. And essentially the purpose of this is for the mouse to make it to the end in a timely fashion. So I did the experiment, and through my data I found that although it's a slight difference, the wild mouse did perform better at the maze. It cleared it quicker, and as you can see from the results, as the test got more, as they went on, the wild mouse showed more adaptability to its scenario because each time it cleared the maze faster. So the real-world application that I made for this was like wildlife sanctuaries and when they try to rehabilitate animals back into the wild. Although this is small in comparison to that, another gentleman came in and talked to me about it, and we both discussed how, if we were going to enhance this project to use maybe a larger scale animal like a dog and a coyote or something like that, but obviously I don't have the resources for that. But what my test basically proves is that there is a difference in how domestication does affect animals, and essentially it is a negative effect because, in an actual scenario, the domestic mouse, since it doesn't perform as well, may not live as long as the wild mouse.
I tested the levels of vitamin C compared from cooked vegetables and fruit versus raw, and was seeing whether or not cooking depletes the levels of vitamin C in the food.
So the project I did is how much fat is in your food, and I tested potato chips, almonds, and chocolate chips, and I did it with and without acetone. And the ones with the most fat were actually the almonds, which was a result I was surprised about. But in my hypothesis, I said that the potato chips would have the most fat.
We did ocean acidification, and that is when there's too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, so it gets stuck, and then when people keep emitting carbon dioxide, it gets put into the ocean and creates carbonic acid, and that's a problem because it decays calcium carbonate shells like coral reefs and biovalves and stuff like that. And Tom will tell you about the experiment.
So for our experiment, we took eggshells, which are made of calcium carbonate, also known as limestone, and we put them in a series of different pHs. For example, seawater, tea, coffee, apple juice, and Coke. Coke with the lowest pH, seawater with obviously the control. And for the most part, the calcium carbonate neutralized all the acids and brought most of the pHs up to a more basic level.
My science project is on the growth of plants with caffeine-based product. It is proven that plants grow faster when you add caffeine to them, and in our experiment we used multiple different caffeine-based products like coffee, caffeine pills, and Red Bull, which is an energy drink, and we grew 3 different plants, mother of thousands plants, with each plant with a different product, and we figured out which caffeine-based product grew the fastest and tallest.
For my project, I built a soil moisture sensor, and it's built on this breadboard, and it's powered by a 9-volt battery, and so it has 2 probes that go into the soil, and it passes electrical charge. And it's attached to this LED light. If the LED light goes on, that means the soil is dry and it has to be moistured. So when that happens, you water it, and then, well, your plant's watered. And this sensor is main purpose is to conserve water use. And after testing it, it works.
Really impressed with the research projects by our students, and thanks so much to the teachers that work with our students and help guide them through this process. They did a wonderful job. And that brings us to the conclusion of our first installment of our Quincy High School. We look to be back next month, so please make sure you join us. And one more shout out to my fine junior students of the film and television program. Thank you, and have a good day.